So let's assume on our fictional payday loan company, we gave out $1 billion in loans. Okay, so first off, the thing to consider is, I think we need to make more than 1.1, but let's just keep it there because the cost of the $1 billion we loaned out has a cost as well, like that much money is outstanding. But we have fixed costs, everything, yada yada yada. What I wanted to suggest is, let's say that at the end of the day, the company broke even. Okay, yes, and it has a very trim staff and everything like that. Do you imagine that the rates that they would give out would be super nice and not
okay, here, real quick. I understand all the hypotheticals. I understand all the arguments. I understand where you're coming from, okay? You're coming from it from the other end that I am. That's the issue. Like, so you're trying to say that, like, this is the only way the business can survive. And what I'm saying is, well, maybe there are some businesses that shouldn't survive, right? Like, what if I could show you that, like...
just deny people access to credit?
Yes. What if I show you that, like, I can make a certain business model work, but it only works on the assumption that I have employees that I can pay $2 an hour? Like, I would say, well, that business model is not a good business model. Like, it probably doesn't belong in the United States.
If there's people willing to work for $2 an hour and they can't get work elsewhere, it's better for them to work than not work.
So I guess I look at it.
Yeah.
So if you're able to find employees for $2 an hour and no one else is willing to bid on those employees, it's better for everybody that they're working for $2 an hour.
Yeah, but the problem is you can, like, infinitely justify the worst types of, like, behavior, like predatory behavior.
Okay, well, then you can just infinitely justify not allowing marginal people or marginalized people to ever work because they'll never be productive enough to have a real job and they'll never make a leg up in the real world.
Or we use social safety nets so that we don't have, like, the most, like, predatory.
But they're never going to be able to have a job, so we're just infinitely.
Why would they never be able to have a job? Who are we talking about?
Because they'll never be able to get experience to be worth more than whatever they're able to do. Or some of them are just inherently disabled and are unable to make minimum wage.
First of all, if you want to talk about disabled people, that is a fundamentally different type of conversation. If you want to bring, like, a wheelchair person with Parkinson's out as your example, you can do that. But I'm saying that, like, plenty of people have been able to gain experience in job markets and everything with minimum wage. Like, that hasn't impacted anybody's ability.
Sure, but if we minimum wage to $50, they're not able to work at all.
Well,
like,
good thing we're not talking about minimum wage at $50. I was talking about theoretically employing somebody at $2, which is below the federal minimum wage. If you have a business model that only works employing people at $2 an hour, it's probably not a good business model. Maybe it doesn't belong in the United States. And the arguments that Dan are making could be used to justify that model. What if I could only run the business at that profit margin? And then I say, okay, well, then you probably shouldn't have that business. Probably just not something we want in the United States.
Oh, I'd like to make some assumptions that we're in the society that we're in right now, which is democratic. People vote for things
that's what you
that we want to treat people equally. I would say that the argument that you're giving, I don't think that works and that's possible unless you want to say, okay, well, and also, by the way, poor people can't buy soda. You can't buy cigarettes. You can't do that. And you might be like, yes, Giga Chad. Yeah, but that, I think, becomes a something that you would also fight against when you say, oh, and poor people can't buy guns, which you've said not based. You said, no, poor people should buy guns. So that
Why is that? Wait, did I really say that?
You really did say that. Because I essentially said, how about we make it that ammo is taxed stupid high? So every bullet that you buy now is $100 a bullet. And the idea is that poor people would never commit crimes because, you know, if you have 10 bullets to do a robbery, you're just going to go and sell those bullets first. As a result.
Okay, well, if I did say that, I walk that back. That's a dumb thing to say. What I probably said is like, what I would say is that politically that would be a suicidal opinion. You should never, ever, ever.
But you like the idea of making it so poor people can't have guns.
Well, poor people having guns is like the worst thing ever, right? Because they're the ones that commit all the fucking crime. It's kind of like Bloomberg said something that was Giga Chad. He sucked on stage for all those political. But somebody was asking Bloomberg questions on a panel about like taxing sugar or whatever, and somebody asked Bloomberg. They were like, "Well, if you tax sugar, isn't that kind of disproportionately affecting poor people?" And Bloomberg's answer was like, yeah, poor people are the ones that need to be affected the most by this because they're the ones that make the worst shopping decisions when it comes to health. I'm like, okay, true. That's actually true. In which case, yeah, I probably would support that type of tax, even if it does disproportionately impact poor people.
So where can I draw this line, you think? So could I, let's say hypothetically that poor people are, you know, they go to the movies too much, and because of that, they lose out on business opportunities. Would you say, oh, poor people shouldn't be able to go to the movies anymore?
Probably not. I don't think I'd ever say that.
Why?
Because there are certain basic amenities in life you should probably be able to enjoy. Going out to the movies.
Well, like buying soda is not one of those. Though,
no, buying soda is probably one of those. Sure.
Why? It affects poor people way more than rich people.
Because I don't know if sodas are making up like the largest like expenditure outlays of like a poor person that's impacting their ability to, you know, not be poor.
Should corner stores be banned?
I don't know. In America?
Yeah.
Probably not, but they suck.
Well, that's not fair. If you want to ban pawn shops and predatory payday loans, I feel like you have to ban corner shops too. And then you get into the issue of the fact that
I think these are fundamentally different things.
So, wait,
I'm
why do you think-
not so sure that they're that different. Hold up a
I
second.
haven't heard of like this is anecdote Andy now, but I haven't heard stories of like, oh god, like my dad, he's just stuck in this perpetual loop of buying half gallons of milk from the gas station that are like $6.
Well, no, not because it costs more. The idea is the food that is at these corner stores, these food deserts, because traditional grocers don't want to set up in that town because it's not profitable for them to do it. And due to loss and other aspects.
Oh, but traditional grocers don't set up in those towns because people don't buy that type of food. The food deserts
are.
are.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're still doing that. That you corner stores kill poor people.
Does the government have a right to make a law that says you have to eat your vegetables?
No.
So, but again, it comes down to the
Then
fact.
why do they have a right to stop you from making decisions that you think are in your financial best interest?
Hold on. What is this hyper autistic? Does the government have the right to do the most restrictive thing ever? No. Then the government has no right to do any restrictive thing whatsoever. What? That isn't how that works, right?
No. So if you're denying people access to credit, you're saying the government has the ability to lock you out of credit to stop you from getting evicted from your house.
Okay, Ragepope, do you think people should have the right to access whatever credit they want? Should I be able to pawn my child?
Yes. No, not child. There are certain things that you shouldn't, but any asset that you have, yes, any asset that you have that you could otherwise buy or sell, then yes, you should be able to access credit through that. And then even if you don't have any assets,
what if there was some asset that poor people could access credit through that like we could show over the long term was like just highly detrimental to poor people?
I mean, there's all sorts of decisions that they make that are highly detrimental to poor people, but we don't stop them from doing it anyways. Do we stop poor people from buying tickets, lottery tickets? Do we stop poor people from buying alcohol, from buying tobacco? These things are significantly worse than accessing these lines of credit.
I don't know.
No,
I would
lottery
depend.
tickets is a good one.
Well, it would depend. It would depend. I think there's a difference between like making a bad purchase versus leveraging what could be an incredibly important asset for something to get more money. I think those are two different
otherwise
things.
Have to sell it. So if the choice is I can pawn my watch for $200 and make rent this month or get evicted, you're saying I shouldn't be able to do that when I could otherwise go and sell the watch and get it, but that I wouldn't be able to get my watch back.
Yeah, I think that selling things is different, and as much as it sucks,
I don't think so.
Okay. Wait, hold on. You're wrong. You're wrong. Chill. Hold on. You're just wrong. Okay. But
so why don't you sell your house when you need cash?
Hold on. Let me just give me 1 second. Let me just chill. Okay. You're triggering the fuck out of me. Okay. When people have access to credit, when poor people have access to credit, they view it as a separate bank account because they're fucking financially retarded. Okay. This is why I don't think poor people should have credit cards. Okay. But the issue is that if you have to sell something as a poor person, then when you sell it, it's fucking gone. Okay. There is a different thing that happens in the brain when you have to let go of something versus I can loan that, I can leverage that, I can pawn that, and I can do this. And you're trying to spin like 32 different fucking plates at the same time because you always think you're going to be able to get the money back. It's like, imagine what Uncut Gems, the movie, would look like if you had to sell shit instead of loaning it. It wouldn't be a movie. It'd be like, oh shit, I had to sell that, I'm fucked. Fuck me. And then it would end. That would be the end of the movie. Instead of like, if I pawn my car next week, even if I don't make enough money, I know that I can pawn a few rifles and then I can get the money back to get my car back. And then maybe I can pawn a different, like that mindset that's like a treadmill to disaster. When you sell, this was my mindset. Here, hold on real quick. I'll finish it. Wait, I'll finish. Okay. When I was really poor, I didn't have any credit card debt at all because my mindset was the worst thing that could happen to me was I lose my house. And if I lose my house, I'm either homeless for a bit or I get an apartment and then boom, I'm done. But if I would have gotten into the mindset, but that's because even though I was poor, I was never financially retarded because I had a good education. If I would have started getting credit cards and payday loans and blah, 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 dude, homelessness is not the worst thing that could happen. In my mind, the worst thing that happens is you're in a house that's about to be foreclosed on and now you've got $40,000 in outstanding debt that is high interest that you've leveraged your life-saving fucking assets on, okay? I prefer my rock bottom to be homeless, not below that, which is $40,000 in outstanding debt because I've leveraged every single asset in my life for some cash, in my opinion. Okay, go ahead.
So you're just saying people are too stupid to be able to exercise their liberties?
Yes. Yeah.
Pretty terrible government to be under.
Good. Well, that's the one that I prefer. When you're dumb and you're poor